Hi, this is Alexis Kozak, and I'm going to read another piece from my solo show, Alyosha, or My Father Told the Russians Everything. This monologue is called Every Child Should See Their Parents' Dead Bodies. Growing up, I had a fantasy of what it would be like to see my father dying. Him lying in a hospital bed. Tubes and wires coming out of everywhere. Unconscious and finally powerless. And I'd look on in satisfaction, not because I hated him, but because I loved him so much, and I didn't know what I was doing to make him hate me so much. So, when my brother told me that Pop was in the hospital with a heart aneurysm, you can bet that I was there in a hot second. There were things that I wanted to tell him. Some version of the facts that I'd be leaving for graduate school in Boston, and that Barbara and I had gotten married. I said with the unconscious unctuousness that we save for breaking big news to our parents, "Oh, I didn't know if you heard, but Barbara and I got married." And for the first time in my life, he lied to me. No, I didn't know. Defeat in his voice. But he did know. My brother had told him. So, I have these things to say to him. I'm there in a hot minute. I walk into his room, expecting what I'm expecting, and there he is, sitting on the hospital bed like this. Not a tube or a wire in sight. It was nothing like I had imagined it. Needless to say, I was disappointed. He looked fine. He always looked fine. So, I was shocked when, a year and a half later, my brother calls, crying, that Pop is dead. That he had been 3 days in the house, in the August heat, and that the flies had got him. That was his big thing. "I don't want the goddamn flies to get me." The man at the funeral parlor. "We did the best we could, but you don't want to see him." Every child should see their parents' dead bodies. I know that now. I didn't know it then. Not to be uncouth, but the same way that we should have seen Osama bin Laden's body. Because otherwise there's always a lingering doubt. And the doubt gets bigger with time and distance and the realization of the creative evil of mankind. At least once a week, I see a man in a red baseball cap riding his bike on the side of the road. For all I know, he's alive and well and living in Moscow. Now, wouldn't that be something? Because in retrospect, it seems obvious. I mean, of course they wouldn't let me see the body. And of course they would have a death certificate and all of that. Medical examiner and everything, right? And my brother? I mean, maybe my brother was in on the whole thing. Maybe that's what the years of psychological and emotional abuse were. It was him trying to break down and turn his own son, children, family. And the crazy thing is, I'm starting to think that maybe it worked. Maybe he managed to turn my brother. And it strikes me, suddenly, that is what this show is. An attempt to see my dead father. To know for sure. To bring him in out of the cold.